Well, it's 3 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. Time for the Board of Library Trustees, Allen County Public Library's March meeting. And so we'll begin with the roll call.
Thank you. Mr. Eisbart,
Present?
Ms. Tucker, Mr. Pasterik, Mr. Williams, Mr. Seifert, Mr. Moss,
Present.
and Ms. Shamanoff. So we have 4 out of 7 present.
So we have a quorum. Great. I'll entertain a motion then that we adopt the agenda as included in your packet.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye,
Aye.
and opposed by nay. And we'll move along to approval of the minutes. Unless there is objection, I will group A, B, C, and E. We're missing D. Is, Scrivener's error?
You got it. I apologize.
Scrivener's error. Okay, well, we'll review our alphabet.
Thank you.
And I'm a teacher, so I can do that for you.
Oh, and you can hear, oh,
Yeah.
that's good. All right, great. We got a 1-2 punch here. Okay, a motion to approve the minutes of the regular session of February 22nd of 2024, minutes of the executive session of the same date, minutes of the Capital Project Committee executive session of February 26th of 2024, and minutes of approval of claims of March 12th, 2024. Can I have a motion to that effect? And the second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. And let the minutes reflect the fact that trustee Williams is here. Okay. Financial report, David.
Great, thank you, Ben. In your packet are your reports, and there's really not a lot financially to report on this month. The lines are all staying within their category. The only one that's spending heavily is, of course, the landscape line, which includes the snow removal. So snow removal is always high at this time of year, but it's not anything out of the ordinary, I should say. The main thing to report on now is the audit. We have been gathering most of the information for that, and we were feeling it's still supposed to start the middle of April. However, we've been getting inundated by requests from the auditors. They're wanting the information already, so they may be ready to start, which is fine with us. We'll, get them. We have everything completed on it and ready to go. So, again, we'll be working with Crow, the same auditors, Scott Nickerson and Thomas. I can't remember his last name, but you've worked with him also. I think we'll be setting up an entrance conference with them, and Ben, I assume you'd want to be the
I
rep for
wouldn't
us.
miss it for the world.
That's great, that's great. Other than that, not a lot to report other than just to bore you to tears with accounting. The state has made another change in their receivable recognition. If you recall last year, and I don't blame you if you don't because it's boring, but there was the move to recognize and record a receivable for the property tax and the income tax slated for the subsequent year on your books on 12/31. So the 12/31, 33, or 23 books included the anticipated income tax and property tax for the next year. Well, and that was fine, but what it did was take our receivables up from about 1.3 million to about 35 million, and that was reflected on our financial statements, and they are. Well, the state has decided really that probably shouldn't take place for income tax, only property tax, because income tax is very volatile and variable. It's based on somebody working here, well, they could stop working, as opposed to property tax, where the property's gonna probably exist, and so there's a levy on that, and if they move away or if they don't pay it, there's a tax sale, it's gonna be collected, blah, 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 accounting ease and stuff. But next month, you'll see on the financial statements, the drop of about $5 million in the receivable, because we're taking the income tax side away for that for 24. So there's your state accounting lesson for the day and stuff. Just want to point that out, that just came out while we were completing these financial reports for the 23 audit. So, I'll shut up now.
Any questions, or would you like him to go over that again?
Yeah, I can go through it slower and stuff.
All right. Well, let's move on and ask the approval of the claims.
Well, I think we need to approve
Motion.
the fund.
Motion to approve the finance report. Thank you, and a second, please. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Now we'll move to the claims.
All right, today's claims, there's really two large claims that are making up most of it. It's the payment to Fort Wayne Roofing for the DuPont roof. As you recall, we needed to do the emergency repairs on that. That was a $525,000 project. This is a payments for $393,000, so it'd be the amount. We'll be paying the remainder of that after it finishes the contingencies and final. And then the second one is what I just mentioned, the snow removal for the last go-around. That was $164,000 system-wide, so that took in most of the winter. That should get us clear of this. So those are the two largest claims on there. So.
Okay. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion for the approval. And the second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. David's circulating them, and if you would please sign it. Now we have approval of the schedule of fines and fees.
Thank you, Ben. So I'm bringing for you this afternoon for your review two proposed changes to our schedule of fines and fees policy. The first one is an increase in the non-resident card fee from $87 a year to $90 a year annually. This is a fee that is charged for anyone who does not live in Allen County who wants to purchase a library card. Typically, this is often purchased by people living in Ohio, but not exclusively, but we get a lot of Ohio residents who purchase our cards. This change is requested in order to remain in compliance with Indiana state library standards. The standards require that the non-resident fee matches or exceeds the operating expenditure per capita. So there's a minimum that we have to charge, but there isn't a maximum. For 2023, our operating expenditure per capita was $87.93. So with our card fee being $87, in order to remain in compliance with the state library, it would require an increase in the fee. And I put for your reference a list from 2022, which is the most recent data we have statewide, of all the non-resident card fees throughout the state. And you can see that there is a wide gamut, ranging from as little as $10, I believe, to well over $200. So if we were to set it at 90, we would still be squarely in the midpoint. Before I get into the second request, are there any questions about that?
Is it possible to have the operating expenditure per capita in this type of a format for all these different?
I can definitely, I believe,
I mean, it might be useful.
I say definitely, I am 99% sure that that is something I can pull from the state library's website, and I can get that to the board.
Thank you.
So going on, the second change we are requesting is a change to the way we handle printing fees in our Maker Lab. So right now, we charge per hour for 3D printing. It's $1 per hour. But we are increasing and expanding the services in our Maker Labs, both here at the main library and at Maker Labs that we are starting to build out throughout the system beyond 3D printing. So we will have more supplies available for patrons to use for personal projects. So instead of just only being filament that you use for 3D projects, we'll have things like cardstock, we'll have things like vinyl. So a pretty extensive list of supplies. And the supply list is fairly long, and it also is subject to change with pricing fluctuations. So because of that, we reached out to some libraries across the state who have similar Maker Labs to see how they handled it, because we didn't think it was practical to come to you every 3 to 4 months with a change in policy in our schedule and fines and fees. So the recommendation we heard from our neighboring libraries is that there would be, on the schedule of fees, it would state at cost for these supplies. And then the up-to-date supply list and costs would be posted on the library website and actually in the Maker Labs. And we anticipate that that could fluctuate, say, every quarter or so. So for an example of what those would look like. So currently, if this was passed tonight, we would put on the policy that it would be at cost, but we would post a list in our maker spaces and on the website. Right now, something like white cardstock, if someone wanted to use white cardstock for a maker project, it would be 4 cents a sheet. If they wanted to make a button, we have button makers in our maker labs, it would be anywhere from 10 cents to 20 cents a set, depending on the size of the button. If you would like to see, it's a pretty long list of supplies, and I wanted to keep it as simple for you as possible, but if you would like to take a deeper dive, Beth does have extra copies of the supply list, if you're curious.
Is anybody interested in stand in line? Okay, nice try. So we have, we need a motion approval of the schedule of fines and fees. Thank you,
Second.
Pat. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your report is next.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ben. We are in conference season at ACPL. Our team has been busy attending, hosting, and presenting at many professional conferences this March and in April. So, backing up a few weeks, Kurt and his teammates Allison Singleton and Elizabeth Hodges from our Genealogy Center, they attended and presented at Roots Tech in Salt Lake City, which is the world's largest family history conference. And we definitely are the belle of the ball, I believe, at Roots Tech, and their work was very well received, and they made a lot of important connections. So thank you for representing us there. Aja has definitely been picking up the frequent flyer miles at the hotel points because she's been on the go. She and her colleague Jeff Garver, they were in Arlington, Virginia about 2 weeks ago, and they did a presentation at Computers in Libraries on our website design. So that is a national conference for librarians and library staff who work on the technology side of things, and their presentation was very well received, and they had a lot of people come up to them afterwards with all kinds of questions and praise for them. So a lot of us in this room just got back from Detroit, as in yesterday afternoon. So Nate Bernard, Matt Etzel, Jeff Garver, Kevin Wells, Christine Diederich, and Tanya Frandl of our team gave a panel discussion on our ILS migration experience at the Innovative Users Group Conference in Detroit that just wrapped up. So, and I meant innovative, not innovator, another Scribner's error, apologize for that. But that is the user group for the ILS system that we use for our library that we migrated over to in October. And I attended as support for our team giving their presentation, and they did an excellent job. And during the morning keynote, our library was specifically called out for our excellent job in our migration, and also as an example for an excellent library website. And they had our website on their PowerPoint in front of the audience of about 400 plus people. So that was a nice thing. So next week, more conferences. The Public Library Association is coming up, and that is in Columbus, Ohio, and that is a national conference for public librarians and library staff that's held every 2 years. And we have multiple staff who are attending and presenting. Rebecca Wolf, and she has presented on this topic here at a board meeting before. She's our Grable branch manager, and she'll be presenting on serving adults with intellectual disabilities. And also, we have a group featuring Tanya Frandl, Jackie Fullwood, and Charlotte Hinniger, and they are holding a panel discussion on supporting the next generation of librarians and talking about some of our efforts we have to build up that next generation of librarians, such as our Team Read program and some of our leadership cohorts. And then we get into the hosting of conferences, because April 19th and 20th, our Genealogy Center will host the Indiana Genealogical Society Annual Conference. And as part of that, we will offer extended Friday night research hours to the visiting genealogists from across the state. And then, last but not least, on the 17th of April, we are hosting the Indiana Library Federation Regional Conference. And there are 4 of these regional conferences across the state, so the library staff from this region all converge on our library for a day of learning, and we are anticipating anywhere from 75 to 100 library staff from across the region to attend. So again, it's a very busy conference season. But amidst all the conferences, in other news, the ribbon cutting for the Woodburn Branch Storyscape was held on March 20th, and it was a great success. And thank you, Mr. Williams, for coming out and representing there. We had Commissioner Beck there representing the foundation to say a few words. We had the mayor of Woodburn, and we had a lot of positive media coverage. We are participating in Take Our Girls to Work Day, and that is in partnership with the Downtown Rotary Club and the Girls Fund in Fort Wayne. And we are hosting 5 Fort Wayne Community Schools 6th grade girls for the morning on April 9th to show them some behind-the-scenes work of the library and some career paths available to them. You have at your chairs a flyer for a night at the library. This is the upcoming joint fundraiser between the Literacy Alliance and the Library Friends. And that will be May 4th here at this library. We're excited for a really fun night where there will be fun drinks and fun eats, and also some really exciting behind-the-scene tours of things that you may not normally see on a typical day at the library. So we invite you to purchase tickets. They are available for sale now, and please spread the word among your friends and family. The Doc West Concert Collection was just added, I think, about a week ago to our digital community album by Kurt and his special collections team. If you don't know, Doc West is the famed WXKE DJ, and among the over 1,000 images in the collection are photos of rock icons like Alice Cooper, the Stones, and Fleetwood Mac. So that is a really fun collection. It's getting a lot of traction already, so I encourage you to check it out. It's on our website. And finally, you have at your chair our hot off the press Community Impact Report. I'm really impressed with how our team put this together. I want to thank Chris Thiel in our marketing department. He's one of our graphic designers, and this was his baby, and he did an excellent job. And it's just a really attractive and fun graphical interpretation of all the great work that we did in 2023. And you may have seen there was a front page article in the Journal Gazette this morning about it. And finally, late breaking news that didn't make the written report, but if you remember last meeting, we talked about our holds lockers outside of DuPont that we're getting ready to launch. Well, those open to the public for their holds to be put in on March 11th. And I got a report from our public services manager, Tanya, yesterday, that as of yesterday morning, all 53 lockers, I believe, were full. So the word has gotten out, and people are using them. And that's my report.
Well, thank you. How
I'd
about-
like,
Good.
I
Yes.
just wanted to make a comment. I'm really pleased that you and your staff members have an opportunity to go to conferences.
Yes.
And that people actually want to come here for the conferences also. I think that's a good outreach for all of you.
I agree, and you bring up a good point. I do want to thank the board's support for allowing our staff these professional development opportunities. Not all libraries are able to do that, so we don't take that for granted, and I thank you for that.
Paul?
Any keynote speakers you care to highlight for the 2 conferences that are being held here? You've had really good ones in the past, I know.
I will ask Kurt, does the genealogy conference have a keynote?
Not this year, no. It's just a collection of representatives from depositories like the State Library and Memory Project and the State Archives sending representatives here to talk about how to navigate their collections both physically and online. So
Gotcha.
that's the focus of this conference. So I guess, Paul, you could say they're kind of heavy hitters in their space, but not
Sure.
like an overall keynote.
Had to ask.
Oh, it's a good question. And for the Indiana Library Federation Regional Conference, the keynote speakers are the executive director of the Indiana Library Federation.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, let's move on then. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
To new business, does any trustee have any item they'd like to discuss under new business? There's one that I have. We have Building Corporation, as most of you are aware, we have a vacancy. And I would like to place in nomination to fill the vacancy past trustee Kent Castleman. May I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion or any alternative candidate? If not, all in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
And those opposed by nay. Well, we will inform Kent that he's back in business. Okay. Public comment. Okay. Well, hearing and seeing none, I think a motion to adjourn is reasonable. Can I have such?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye. Opposed by nay. Let me remind you, we have an executive session immediately following this with a short 5-minute break.